All right, welcome back to another one of our film reviews. Today we are talking Seattle Seahawks rookie tight end Elijah Arroyo. Arroyo has emerged as a nifty playmaker for Seattle offensively. He does a lot of things very well, and we'll break down everything he brings to the Seahawks team. As always, in the comment section below, give us any feedback you might have. If you're a fan of these film reviews and want to see us do more of them, consider becoming a member to help support us. There's a link in the description box below that will take you right there. But without further ado, let's jump right into the film. All right, let's open up with the running play, and there's Arroyo, number 18, right there on the left side of your screen, lined up in kind of an H-back position. What we're going to get here from the Seattle Seahawks is an outside run going this direction to the left side of your screen, left side of the offense. We're going to get a man-on-motion pre-snap right here, and he's going to get the football. We're going to get a crack-back block right here. We're going to get the tackle working up to the next level. We're going to have Arroyo lead at the point of attack going this direction. Again, tough block for anyone in space, especially for a rookie. The young guy gets it done, though. Let's check it out. There's motion. There's a snap. There's a toss. JSN in space, got blockers. Nice run for the Seattle Seahawks. Big win for Seattle on Thursday Night Football. Let's look at Arroyo, point of attack, leading the way, getting around the crackback block, getting in space, and pinning the outside defender, the edge defender inside. I mean, this is really good. Right here, working to the outside shoulder, doesn't hold, doesn't do anything stupid. This is really good stuff. We know Arroyo coming out of college was an offensive playmaker in terms of a receiving threat. We'll break down some of those plays as well as we go through this film review. But I tell you what, Seahawks fans, I love his blocking. I love his versatility. That's why the Seattle coaching staff, that's why Kubiak is so high on him, because he's one of these guys that can do it all and do it all at a high level. He's only beginning to scratch the surface of his potential, but plays like this will get the offensive coordinator excited. All right, from the wide copy, you can see Arroyo right there at the H-back position. You're going to see the crackback block right there, motion with number 11. There's the block. Arroyo comes around. See how he gets to the outside shoulder of the corner and pins him inside? This is really good because this cornerback right here flying upfield, his job is to be the outside contained guy. He's trying to force the running back, or really receiver in this instant, whoever's got the football, the ball carrier, inside, right? He wants to have outside leverage. Arroyo intelligently attacks the outside shoulder of this DB, pins him inside, and opens up that crease. Great run for Seattle. Again, the Seattle Seahawks offense is cooking. They're looking really efficient, really effective, mixing in some explosive plays as well. But you only get these kind of plays with good blocking at the point of attack, like we see here from the rookie tight end. All right, sticking with the running game, there's Arroyo right there on the left side of your screen. So on the previous play, Arroyo was pulling around the crackback block. This time, he is going to be the guy delivering the crackback block right here on this edge defender, while 67 right here pulls around right here to lead the outside run, again, going to the offensive left, the left side of your screen. This is another example of Arroyo's versatility. Again, he's playing in space. He's lined up basically as a wide receiver in a slot position. It's not lined up as a tight end. He's not just running post routes or go routes or anything like that. Those were things coming out of school that everyone was so high on when it came to this kid. But I love his blocking. I love his positional versatility. Let's check it out. There's a snap. There's a toss. A lot of running room. Good move by the running back. Good finish. Nice play by the Seattle Seahawks. Real quick before we get to Arroyo, guys, let's look at Charles Cross in space. I tell you what, I feel bad for these offensive linemen sometimes when they got to play in space. This is an example of it right there. Not a good look, but a good play for Seattle. All right, let's look at Arroyo right there. I think Cross had a really good game, so I'm only picking on him just because he had a really solid performance. But let's look at 18 right here. Again, delivering the crackback block right there. Shot him right in the face and then drives him out of the way. See how he keeps pounding his feet, moving his feet? He's not just doing the bare minimum, and that's the key with Arroyo. He's not one of these guys, one of these blocking tight ends that, does just enough, just barely enough. Doesn't want to play physical, doesn't want to throw his hat in there. Arroyo wants to be physical. Look at him shock this defensive end on his crackback block. Right here. Watch this, the continuation right there. That's good. That's good. But see how he keeps driving his feet and keeps pushing him downfield? I love the way he tries to finish. He could improve his technique. There's always some things to get better on, right? But I love the fact he gets his head upfield. You see his head right there is closer to the ball carrier than the defender is. That's where you want to be. He doesn't hold again, doesn't do anything stupid. Yet another example of positional versatility, a great playmaker for the Seattle Seahawks, and Elijah Arroyo. All right, from the wide copy again, let's look at Charles Cross here just to pick on him a little bit. Out in space, out in space. Whoop. All right, I'm sorry. That's enough of that. But let's look at 18. Again, delivering the key block, drives it, gets it done, and it keeps blowing him upfield. This is embarrassing for an edge defender, right? If you get crackback blocked by a wide receiver or a pass-catching tight end, that's sort of a really bad look, right? In this situation, you want to try and work over the top or maybe at least get penetration. But here you can see this edge defender. Where's the line of scrimmage to 35? He gets maybe a yard of penetration. It ends up basically right around the line of scrimmage. So he gets no penetration. It's completely behind the play, nowhere close to the ball carrier. An embarrassing rep for the defensive end. The corollary to that is it's a really good rep from the rookie tight end. Another example of his playmaking ability. Nice job by Arroyo. All right, next play with Arroyo, and there he is right there on the right side of your screen. Once again, lined up in kind of an H-back roll just off the line of scrimmage. It's going to be another run action concept, right? We're going to get a little motion pre-snap this direction. So all of these linebackers right here in this 3-4 alignment for the Arizona Cardinals, they're going to have all eyes on Arroyo when he goes across the formation right here, especially this defensive end, right? This edge defender. They're used to Arroyo getting out in space or blocking them head on. They're looking for it. But this time, the Seattle Seahawks have a little trick up their sleeves. Let's check it out. There's the motion. There's a snap. Run action. Nope, it's play fake. Defensive end out of position. Easy completion. Chunk play for Arroyo now catching the football. This is what it's all about, guys. This is how you win, right? Obviously, JSN playing good football, Sam Darnold playing good football, the defense playing good football. That matters, of course. But schematically, this is how you win. You have tight ends that can block. What happens? Everyone bites on it. Look at these linebackers when 18 comes around at the snap. Look what 27 does. He flies down inside. Look at this defensive end flying down inside. They all think it's a run, right? They're scared of getting just completely blocked out in space by Arroyo or blocked out of the point of attack by Arroyo or any of these other Seahawks tight ends. And we see right there, number 18 just casually leaks out. He's wide open. Easy completion. It's a terrible throw, right? It's just a lollipop throw. Whoop. Easy little throw. And it's still a chunk play. This is how the Seahawks are going to be so tough to stop. Because what do you do if you're a defender? Right here, if you don't treat Arroyo as a good blocker, if you're the linebacker or the edge defender, he'll get it done. He'll block you in your face, and the Seahawks will run the football down your throat. We saw that on the previous 2 plays. But if you commit too much to the run, they play fake it and throw it over the top of you. This is how the Seahawks will win, guys. Great ball here from 18. All right, from the wide copy again, you're going to see the motion from Arroyo coming across the screen right there. Watch the fake. Watch how everyone just immediately reacts. And now he's gone. He's wide open. It's too easy, guys. This is just too easy. If you look at this defense right here for the Arizona Cardinals, they're all biting on the run, right? They're all tired of getting run all over them. They're all tired of having Arroyo and other tight ends go across the formation or block them up at the point of attack. They're done with it. They're saying, listen, we're all going to fly upfield. And what does that mean? It means you're going to get receivers wide open, just like we see here. Football can be pretty complex, guys. It's not a simple game. But sometimes it can get simple when you have players that are versatile, that can line up all over the field and do a lot of different things. Arroyo is a perfect example of that. Sneaky good weapon for Seattle. Our next play here, there's Arroyo right there on the left side of your screen. Once again, line up in an H-back alignment. So we've seen in the previous few plays, the Arizona Cardinals, they had some instances where they didn't react to Arroyo as a blocking threat, and they got absolutely shredded on the ground game. And on the previous play, they reacted too much to the run blocking threat, and they got shredded in the play action game. So right here, the Arizona Cardinals say, enough. We're just going to go man-on-man coverage, right? We're going to treat it man-on-man. We're going to have this guy stick him. He's going to be outside contained, and he's going to cover him man-on-man. We're just going to live with that result. But here's where the Seattle Seahawks, again, Arroyo's just such a great playmaker for him, is that he can win these one-on-one matchups when defenses try and do this to him. Sneaky good playmaker that's only getting better. Let's check it out. There's a snap, drop back pass. Darnold runs out of time. He scrambles outside the pocket. Looks deep. Who's there to win the one-on-one battle? Arroyo. Great play, huge play for the Seattle Seahawks offense. Let's look at it from the wide copy here. Get a really good look at it. Again, you can see one-on-one right here. Situation, I know it's zone coverage, but it ends up being basically one-on-one before it's all said and done. And Arroyo's able to win. What do you do if you're a defense, right? Let me go back to the very beginning of the play. So you've got a couple options here if you're a defense. All the way back. Here we go. So you either, if Arroyo's going to be a blocker, right, you're really scared of him blocking, you have this guy flash and really slant down inside to try and defend the run. But if you do that, then you're going to give up the play action. If you play passive, and let's say you don't have a big, strong defensive end here, he'll pin you outside or he'll out-leverage you and reach you and get on the edge, and you'll get diced up in the running game. So what do? You have a big, strong edge defender. You force him to play zone coverage, what ends up becoming man-on-man before it's all said and done. And look, this is what happens because Arroyo's good enough to win this rep. It's not a perfect throw, right? I mean, he's wide open right here. I mean, if this is a little bit better throw on front here, there's a chance he takes this to the house. But he still adjusts the football, makes a really good play. This is why Arroyo is such an important weapon for Seattle because defenses don't have an option. If you don't have an edge rusher man-on-man right here who has outside leverage, the Seattle Seahawks will run all over you. If you pinch and aggressively play the run, they'll play action you to death. And if you do this, he can beat you in those one-on-one matchups. What a dynamic matchup nightmare for the Seahawks offense to use. All right, going back to the running game, there's Arroyo right there on the left side of your screen as part of a 1-2-3 tight end set. They obviously got a lot of guys at the line of scrimmage, and it's going to be a downhill running scheme here for the Seattle Seahawks. We're going to get a base block there. We're going to get a base block there. We're going to get double team here, working up to the linebacker. We're going to get double team action here, working up to the next level. We're going to get tight end working up to the next level. We're going to get a base block here. Arroyo on this edge defender. Running back working inside just like this, just trying to find yards however he can. Again, old school gap concept, downhill running the football. Let's look at Arroyo here on this play again. It's just a base block. It's nothing special, but I love his attitude. I love the fact that he's, again, going above and beyond. He's getting movement. He's denting the defense in his own right. He's a big play receiver. He's more than just a willing blocker, though. He's also a physical guy that can win at the point of attack if necessary. Let's check it out. There's a snap. There's the inside run. Decent little run there, not a whole lot, 3 or 4 yards. Gap football, that's the way it goes. Let's look at Arroyo right here on the backside. Gets in this defensive end, works him upfield, drives him upfield, keeps working the entire time. Again, keeps his base square, physical guy, good technique. Look at his pad level, look at his base right there. I mean, that's pretty good. Everyone else is a little higher. There's a little things to clean up and correct. Of course, there already is. I love how he doesn't turn his shoulders too much. He keeps his shoulders, hips, knees parallel to make sure he keeps his edge defender wide. When you're trying to base block like this on the backside of these gap concepts, the one thing you don't want to have happen is well, I guess there's two things. One, you don't want to have this guy just run around you and make the play. That's like the disaster scenario. But the other thing is you want to keep him wide, right? Because if you just fire out to him, there's a chance he could loop back around or even push through you to constrict the hole. You want to keep him wide because look at this cutback lane. I mean, obviously the running back couldn't hit it just the way everything else was blocked up. But there's a chance here for a little, old school jump cut and then get north and south. We see running backs do that all the time. Walker actually is pretty good at that. I won't be surprised if we see a lot more of that in coming games for the Seattle Seahawks because you see right here Arroyo at the point of attack, keeping him wide, good technique, working him upfield, nice block from 18. All right, from the wide copy, you can see Arroyo right there at the top of your screen. Just fire out this edge defender. Again, he catches some of the blow, right? Again, he's not a natural blocker, right? It's not like he's Gronk out there in his prime. A little bit of a catch there, but he doesn't stop at his feet. He keeps running, keeps driving, and gets some movement at the point of attack and keeps this defensive end wide, right? Where does defensive end start, right? Like, let's say a yard outside the hash mark. Where does he end up? Basically a half yard inside the hash mark. It's pretty good, keeping him wide and walking him back about 4 yards. That's pretty good at the point of attack. These are one of the things you look for young receiving tight ends and young tight ends in general. Are you a willing and competent blocker? Arroyo certainly is. Great addition to the Seahawks offense. All right, quick break in the film review. Look, I was taught to break down film by my college coaches at the Division I level. All the players are. It's just a fact of playing football at that level. And I want to take this opportunity to give you guys, the average fan, more opportunities to get that insider knowledge of how the game is taught at that highest level of college football. I created a checklist, a step-by-step guide for you guys, 100% free. That's based on how I was taught to break down film by my coaches and that I use today to create these film reviews. There's a link in the description box below that'll take you right to it. I really appreciate it if you guys decide to get it. Again, 100% free, just trying to share information to you guys, stuff that was taught to me by my coaches. But without further ado, let's get back into the film. All right, let's talk about football IQ and intelligence next. And there's Arroyo right there on the right side of your screen. This is going to be a zone concept here to the offensive left, the left side of your screen. We're going to get the running back working this direction right here, tight end base blocking there, zone double team right here, working up to the next level. We're going to get zone double team right here, trying to get up to the next level for some scoops. We're going to then have on the backside this tackle right here, trying to cut off this 3 technique and work up to the next level, potentially, depending on what this 3 technique does. And Arroyo, he's trying to stay flat here to potentially help with the scoop block. And right here from the running back's perspective, he's pressing it this direction and then go north and south, but there's the option to cut back here if the hole opens up. Now, how it works on the backside is really what you're looking for is that these two guys traditionally have, these two guys basically. You have this defensive tackle and whatever flow player comes over the top. But one of the things they teach you if you're a backside tight end or backside tackle in this situation, if this defensive tackle goes away and the flow player goes away as well, keep working up and just look for a way to pin someone outside to open up a cutback lane. It's a very rare circumstance where it happens, but you got to be smart enough to recognize and react to it. Arroyo is. Let's check it out. There's a snap. Zone concept. Running back gets north and south for a pretty good gain. Let's look on the backside here. Let's look at Arroyo right here. If I freeze frame it right here, you can see the cutback opportunity is there. But the problem is you can see this nose guard right here. They don't do a good job getting onto him, so he kind of blows up that cutback there. Credit to him. But Kenneth Walker presses it forward and still turns into a good play. Right? Look at Zabel, by the way, before we get to Arroyo. Just burying people. That's good to see. All right, let's look on the backside here for 18, right? He's trying to scoop, get up to the next level. There's no one there. Everyone's flowing over the top. So what does he do right here? He turns his head, looks for someone to block, and tries to get out in front. Look, it's not an impact block. It's not a pancake or anything like that, which is a smart play, by the way. A little turn back block like this, we can see penalized now in today's National Football League. So a smart play from Aoyo. But again, recognizing and reacting. Okay, everyone's gone. I'm looking for the flow player now, and that is going to be this defensive end, and try and cut him off. If this running back, let's say Walker, would have had the opportunity to cut back right there, the only guy who can make the play is this defensive end, and Arroyo's there to pick him up. I love the intelligence. I love the ability to recognize and react. You just can't go out there and just run through grass. A lot of tight ends, if there's no one to block, especially in the running game, and a lot of rookies in general, if it doesn't happen perfectly the way it was supposed to happen according to the game plan, according to what they saw in practice, they'll kind of just aimlessly walk through grass and just not block anybody. I'll give you an example of this right here. You see JSN on the right side of your screen, and look, he's a backside receiver. I'm not blaming him too much. But you see him, he's kind of walking around there a little bit, eventually find someone to block, but that's what you see a lot from rookie tight ends and rookie receivers at the point of attack, right, in the box. If no one's there, like, well, I guess I'll just keep jogging up the field. No, find someone to block like Arroyo does here. Smart play from the rookie. All right, from the wide copy, you can see Arroyo going in motion pre-snap. Again, versatile guy. We're going to get the snap here in a second. There it is. There's his own concept. There's a potential cutback, but Arroyo's looking for the fold player coming over the top. No one's there, but he peels back around to try and find someone. One of the things they talk about when it comes to offensive line and pass protection is you don't get paid to guard grass. Find someone to block. Right here, Arroyo's like, there's no one here to block. Go find somebody. And I love that mentality. And I love the fact, I know it's not a very powerful block, but I love the fact he doesn't do anything stupid. That's one of the things I like about 18 when I see his film. He's not a guy that makes dumb mistakes. A lot of rookies, just because they're rookies, they do dumb things. It just goes with the territory sometimes. Not the case with Arroyo. He's a playmaker in the receiving game and a willing and effective blocker, and he avoids the catastrophic plays. Add in a high football IQ, and you got yourself a heck of a player in Seattle. All right, let's end on a really creative running concept here for the Seattle Seahawks. So we're in a third and long situation here. The Seattle Seahawks are just going to run the football to try and help out with field position or maybe pop a run for a first down. So what we're going to get here is the guard here is able, he's going to pull and block that defensive tackle. The center is going to go and pull this direction to block this direction right here for that defensive tackle or potentially that defensive end. This tackle right here, he's going to anchor down technique and go this direction right here. We're going to get from this tackle over here, he's going to work all the way around to number 27, that linebacker, and this guard is going to flash here to hold this defensive tackle before he tries to work up to the next level, and Arroyo with a simple block on the edge, just base blocking there, right? Any of that makes sense to you guys? I guarantee you it's kind of funky. It actually ends up looking pretty interesting in terms of a concept, but I want you guys to look at Arroyo here again, showcasing the effort. It's one of those plays where it doesn't look good for him in terms of on the broadcast footage or on the film, in terms of how it looks, certainly at the end, but I love the way he fights to the very last second. Let's check it out. There's a snap. There's all the action there. Decent little run. In terms of nifty design, guys, I mean, look at the center. Look at the tackle. Look at the guard pulling there. Look at this tackle working up to 27. Look at number 75. He has no idea what he's doing. I mean, he's trying to find someone, but he's just lost. Kind of outsmarted themselves, I think, with number 75 there. Everyone else here seems to do a decent job. I don't know what 75 is doing here. Let's look at Arroyo. Again, tough situation. 1-on-1 on the edge for a slow developing play for a pretty nifty athletic playmaker there, number 5 for Arizona. So what do? You just got to keep fighting, keep working, keep running your feet. Right there, you get stepped on and you fall down. Not great. It looks ugly on the broadcast footage. But see how he keeps fighting, keeps working. He goes above and beyond. He's not just throwing his body out there. He's not just getting in the way. He's not just blocking for 1 second. He's playing this guy as if he's an undrafted rookie fighting for playing time, scratching for every inch like it's a third preseason game. And I love that from an effort standpoint. We know he's a playmaker as a receiver. We know he's versatile, can go in motion, block at the point of attack, block on the backside. We know he's smart. We know he can get out in space and lead in the running game. He can do all of those things, but his effort to me also stands out. You talk about a complete playmaker, a great addition. Elijah Arroyo, guys, checks every single box for the Seattle Seahawks.